and welcome to 3Q the Artist, the podcast designed to go beyond the typical artist interview by asking 3 questions in just 15 minutes. I'm your host, Rachel Vogel, and joining me for tonight's episode is the incredibly talented, fully independent pop rock artist, Charlotte Sands. Charlotte has been writing and performing her own music since she was just 9 years old, influenced by a mix of acoustic storytelling and powerful pop rock performances. She's remained a fully independent artist while charting at Top 40 Radio for over 15 weeks in the US, asserting her presence with nominations for Breakthrough Artist and winning at London's Heavy Music Awards, and performing with well-known acts like My Chemical Romance and 5 Seconds of Summer. Her upcoming debut album, Can We Start Over, not only symbolizes her personal and career growth, but truly reflects her own identity and life experiences. So with that, we have a lot to discuss, but first, Charlotte, thank you for being here. I'm sure that you're very busy, deep in prep mode for tour and the album. So before we jump into the questions, tell me, how's it going? How are you? And most importantly, are you staying sane?
What a nice intro, first of all. That made me feel so special. I was sitting here being like, yeah, this is cool. I appreciate it. I am home right now for the first time in months and months and months of touring. So this is like the longest amount of time I've been able to be home, and I am loving it. So I feel sane at the moment, yes. If you asked me about a month ago, I probably wouldn't have had the same answer.
Well, are you ready to dive into the first question?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. I've heard many artists say, I am my music and my music is me. So what does that statement mean to you?
I think that statement to me means it's a really hard, my personal experience, it's a really hard line of how to figure out how to not be completely engulfed in your artist persona or your songs and the identity that you tie to both of them. For example, like I know a lot of musicians and artists who feel like they are really good at separating their careers and their artistry from their personal lives. And then there's a lot of people, I think, like me, who have a really difficult time separating those two things. The person that I am on stage and the songs that I'm singing are the same person and the same experiences as my own personal life and my deepest secrets and experiences and truths. And so I think that to me, that means that it's kind of, I am one person and this isn't an act that I'm doing. It is really tied to my identity and tied to my core, my character, and all of these things that are very much not just an act or a music industry thing. It's my life.
It's actually so funny that you say that, because I did have a follow-up question written ready to go for you.
Yeah.
And it was specifically about that. I was going to say, you have your tour coming up, and everyone listening, pause and buy the tickets now. But I was curious, like, how does this statement speak directly to how you show up when you go on stage and in your live performances? And do you ever find it difficult to really channel like your authentic self? But doesn't sound like it.
No, I mean, honestly, I think that I feel more comfortable as myself on stage than I feel off of stage a lot of times. I think that I feel so comfortable being on stage, and I feel like I'm at like a sleepover with a bunch of my friends, and it feels like I've these rooms of people, especially my headline shows, when it's people that I are in this community of really kind and like wonderful humans. I just feel so free to be myself. I feel like there's no judgment or criticism, and which is exactly the kind of space I want to create for other people. So I'm really lucky that I get to feel that way as well at my own shows, and it's all because of the people that are there making me feel that way. But yeah, I love it. And my favorite moments of any show is being able to like talk to the audience and have those like actual interactions that feel really just like human and normal. And those are always the moments that I take away from the show and remember.
Yeah, I saw that you recently posted on your Instagram like a screenshot of something you sent one of your friends like a long time ago, and you were starting out, you had like 800 streams, and that was like the best day ever, which I can totally relate to. Yeah, with this.
Yeah.
But how has it been like? Yeah, and you were, honestly, 800 is a lot. But how has like your relationship with your fans, how has it been watching that transcend?
It's been incredible. I think the craziest thing right now is the fact that, I mean, I've done mostly Europe, UK touring this year. I think I've done 3 separate tours internationally. and then one US tour. And so the thing that was really shocking to me is we're announcing this tour that I'm doing in both the America and UK, Europe, and seeing that people are actually buying tickets outside of the US, because I've been opening for so many people. So I thought that I was like, I'm just here to hype everyone up. And now seeing that actually transfer over to people joining my Discord and having conversations with my US audience, and them all kind of becoming friends and getting to know each other. And those are the kind of things that get me so excited, because it's the entire reason that I make music, is for like human connection, and so that people can find people that are like them, and that they can have these relationships. And it's watching that happen all over the world now on such a bigger scale is just like the most rewarding thing ever. And I just like, I watch them just like in the Discord chats being like, oh, I'm so beautiful. I just love, they're like blossoming friendships. And so that is definitely the part right now that's just so exciting, and being able to have relationships with people in Germany that every time I see them, I know them and I give them a hug. And it's such a random, weird thought that I never really thought would be my reality, but I'm very happy that it is.
And especially at the independent level, you definitely have more access to those relationships.
Absolutely. Yeah, I get to 100% choose how to, what I can do to kind of make a better fan experience, and all these things that I can do to make sure that people feel appreciated. And all of those decisions are mine alone, which sometimes saying that is like, woo, and then sometimes saying that is so daunting. But I feel I'm definitely somebody who loves being in control of myself and my career and my business and personal and professional, all of it. And so right now I love being independent and being able to make decisions for myself.
Love that. All right, let's dive into the next question. Some would say this is a juicy one, but take it how you want. Every industry has its dirty little secrets. They can be both positive and negative. What's one secret that you would like to share about the music industry?
I'm so interested. I need to like listen to what other people say for this question. Now I'm so curious. It's like Charlotte Sands is an industry plant. Like,
oh yeah.
I don't know. I think that the secret that, and this isn't as like juicy as some other ones probably, but to me, I think the most shocking thing was realizing that nobody really knows what they're doing. I think for the most part. I think that when I was growing up and I was thinking about one day signing to a label and all these things, I was like, they're going to know exactly what to do, and they're going to have all these numbers, and they're going to know how to blow me up overnight, and it's all these things. And in a lot of ways, yes, that can still happen. But in a lot of ways, the music industry has changed so much. And I feel like even people at the very, very top are still just kind of like, I don't know, like we're trying to figure it out, and everybody's just trying to figure it out at the same time and kind of do their best. But there's no, like, I feel like secrets to success other than like working hard, finding people that you like and working with them, and then making things that you like and making things that you're proud of. And I think that everyone tries to find these like cheat codes, but a lot of the time, those things are like the core. And then obviously money. Can't forget that. But yeah, I think that the secret is that for me, most people don't really know what they're doing, and then sometimes things just work and you chase that. But
yeah,
I don't know,
for sure.
there's no like book of like how to make it, I feel like, anymore. It's all,
I feel like artist development is like a never ending cycle, and if you meet somebody that says that there's an ending point, they're the ones that don't know what they're doing, but nobody knows what they're doing.
That's the truth. It's like if anyone guarantees you that they know what they're doing, they most likely don't. I feel like I always trust people more when they're like, these are the things that we should try. There's a really good chance that none of them will work, but then we'll do this, But when people are 100% like, do this and you're going to be a star, I'm just like, I don't believe
Maybe
you.
not.
Thank you so much for your time.
Do you have any specific moment in your mind when you think about this that like was a crazy like digital idea maybe that you tried and it just completely went to shit and then you just had to kind of pivot?
I mean, that's like most of when like 4 years ago, I think at this point, maybe 3 years, which is absurd, is when I did a TikTok of my song Dress, and it blew up and it went to radio, and it was this crazy experience that I'm so, so grateful for. But like, I don't think I've had any TikTok or anything really do well since then. It's, I haven't had a viral moment since 4 years ago, but we're still making progress in my career and doing all this stuff, which is like exciting because it's like real people and real like things. And but I think I'm ever since then, so every day I still post and I still make videos and I still do stuff, and it's more so to just now entertain the people that are here. But I feel like there was this huge pride thing for me before, being like, I don't want to be seen as a TikToker, and I'm an artist and I care about my music and how people view me, and I want to be like Michelle Branch. I don't want to be like an influencer, you know? And I think for a while that really held me back from just like putting myself out there, which is terrifying in any aspect. But I think now I'm at this point where I'm like, it's not that serious, and you can just post something and people will like either like it or not, and then that's it.
And you can always delete it.
You can always delete it. I'm like, obviously, like, yeah, I just try to stick to stuff that's like really still in line aligned with who I am as a person and as an artist, like still stuff that doesn't make me feel like ugh when I post it. I have done that before. I just stick to stuff that I'm like, I don't care if people see this. Like I'm singing a song that I love in a car. Like I'm gonna be fine, you know? And I try to do both and make everyone as happy as I can, and then keep my sanity and my values, you know, and that's kind of all I can do.
Very, very important. So real quick, before we dive into the last question, what made you decide, like right now, January 2024 is the time that you're ready to release this album? And if you're willing to share, is there a track on the album that's most meaningful to you, or does that change like week to week, month to month?
Oh, it's just so hard. It's like my baby. So the first part, I mean, I honestly wasn't planning on making an album when we started working on it. It was the complete experience was really like, I ended up going to LA working with these incredible producers, Keith Sorrells and Alex Niceforo, and then a writer named Jutes, who's also an independent artist. And I ended up working with them. We had 3 days in a row, and those 3 days we ended up writing the first singles off my album back to back. And immediately I was like, I love these songs so much. These have to be released in this order together. It has to be like this. I just felt it in my body. And so I decided basically that day that I was going to make an album. And then I just kept going back and working with them and working with some other people that I love. And that's how it came together. But it was kind of like this beautiful accident of just like falling into place, which is, I think, the majority of things that happen to me in my life. They just happen on accident, or they just end up falling together. But and then the songs on the album, I mean, yeah, it really is. There's so many that are different parts of my personality. There's some that are the sad, like feel bad about myself songs, of course, that will always probably be there. And then there's the songs that are hopeful and these songs that are more optimistic. And I think it's just like the two different parts. But right now there's a song called Blind Spot that is my favorite song. And honestly, like, I remember writing that song with those guys, and at the end of it, we just all were sitting there being like, this is really special, and this is like, we have something that's really good. And that feeling is so rare, to just be in a session and everybody mutually look at each other and be like, yeah, this is good. Like, we got something really special. And so ever since that day, I felt like it like really revived my creativity and my, like, honestly, like my mental health and all these things. I felt really hopeful having something that I was that proud of. So that would definitely be the song right now that I'm stoked about.
Awesome. Well, we can't wait to hear it. All right, next question. Today you are 27 years old. So imagine you're 75. Let that sink in. And you're being interviewed for a retrospective on your career and your life in general. What would you hope to be able to say about each?
Wow, this kind of stresses me out a little bit. I've been thinking so much about this lately, in the sense of like, what do I want to achieve in the sense of my career? Like, what does it mean to me? And I think I think the biggest thing looking back, I really hope that I feel like I stood up for myself and I made decisions that I wanted to make, and I made music and made art that I'm proud of consistently. And I didn't feel like I ever changed to fit other people's expectations or wants or needs. Because I think that's really something that's hard to do in the music industry. It's just be consistently yourself, even when things go wrong, because that's when we feel like we need to change and we need to turn into somebody else and re introduce ourselves. But yeah, I think that I want to look back, and I also just hope that I'm still finding like joy in it, and I'm still able to be excited and feel like I still love that. I think my biggest fear ever is doing something that's also a job and then losing the love and the joy for it, and then looking at things that are like, oh, you are nominated for another Grammy, and being like, oh God, I have to go to the Grammys this year, and that
Right.
I never want to become bitter towards the industry because towards music or towards my job as a musician and an artist because of the industry or because of things like that. So that would be my hope. And that I'm just happy. That I think that that's the biggest thing, is I've realized there's so much noise about fame and money and all these things, but anybody you meet that has those things is not really happy because of those things. If they are happy, they're happy because they've found ways to like maintain joy and be around people that they love and celebrate these things, and I think stay really grounded. And so I really hope that I'm able to be that way. I think I have good people around me that would be like, you're being crazy, don't do that, or that.
Yeah. Get
So
your
I'm
stuff
lucky with that.
together.
100%. So that would be my hope.
Nice. Well, before we close this out, one final question for those listening who may not be familiar with what it truly takes to put together an album rollout, and especially at the independent level, and a debut album, no less. Can you describe what that process has been like for you? What have been some of like the very high highs and low lows?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the highs is just the excitement of having something that you're proud of, and like knowing that one day other people are going to hear this body of work that you've put hours and hours and hours and so many emotions and so many tears into. I think the creative part of it is so exciting for me, and making the visuals and the vinyls and the merch and these things that are like the visual art side, because I just love working on that stuff with people and collaborating. It's such a different part of my brain, but it's so important that those things are all cohesive for me. And I think the difficult part, especially being independent, is having a really small team that has a million other responsibilities each. So instead of having a creative director and somebody who's helping me make everything cohesive or make sure that everything's kind of on the same page, I'm doing that all by myself and having to figure out exactly what I want everything to be. I have to figure out what the music videos look like, and how we're going to have a really small budget but somehow make 4 different videos, and how are we going to have them all in one space, and collaborating with different people on things like that usually people at a label or other artists would have somebody that's like, all right, show up at this time and here we go. And so that kind of work is really difficult, and it takes a lot of the fun out of the actual creative process and the ideas and the creativity in general. But that would be the lows. But I think that it's just seeing it all come together. I know that that's just it's going to be so worth it, and that work is going to pay off in such a huge way. So I mean, hopefully for me at least.
It
But
will. It will.
yeah,
It has
positive.
already.
Thank you. I'm either way, I am so excited and so proud, and I'm just lucky to get to be here and get to do this as my job. So
I'm just envisioning you now, like answering 10 different phone calls in different voices. You're like, you're
I
changing
know.
it up.
I'm like, guys, yeah, 2 o'clock. I'm like canceling
Yeah.
meetings. And, yeah.
Um, We have officially reached the end of the interview, but thank you, Charlotte. Truly been an honor to have you on the podcast. And to everyone listening, just a reminder, her debut album releases January 24th and will be followed by a worldwide headline tour beginning March 7th. Tickets are available right now. And as always, stay tuned for the next episode of 3Q the Artist, the podcast that goes beyond the typical artist interview by asking 3 questions in just 15 minutes. See you then.